So hello there, welcome to Bitcoin Design Community Call number 37. Thanks to you for digging up that number. Today we're back on Jitsi, just like last time, to have a more group-oriented discussion rather than the Twitter spaces, which is a little bit more speakers plus audience. And the goal here is, or the idea, we can do something totally different too if you want to discuss the idea of organizing a hackathon, which has been floating around, and their ideas. There's a document, there's a Slack channel, and some ideas about how this could happen, but nothing has been really perfectly planned in detail. We have to figure out a name for it, and kind of what, if any themes we want to have, anything. Do we want to have workspaces and help teams form, and do we want to have presentations and prizes, all kinds of stuff we can figure out. I think the only thing that I would add here is that let me hop here in my background. There's some other things happening. So Johns and Bolt.fun, they're organizing a 2-month tournament, which is an extension of the hackathons, the Shock the Web hackathons previously, but it's now 2 months long. And the idea there is to not just give people a couple days or a week to hack on something, but several months and have bigger prizes, and also coordinate this with other events. And Johns, you may be able to speak better to that, but I think there are several other events in co-working spaces and at conferences and other places across the world organized to just kind of get people to build cool stuff. So the idea with our Design-a-thon was we do this at the beginning. And then, if there's like a team that works and that participates in the tournament and wants to start with some design work, they could Design-a-thon and then continue after. Or if there's a design team that comes up with something cool and then somebody wants to continue on the tournament and just build it out or so, just that there's some potential for these things to kind of, build on each other and for collaboration. Johns, would you add anything else to that big picture idea?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. Some of those satellite events could be other conferences, they could be other hackathons, and effectively, what we're trying to do is to kind of like bring the community together, and incentivize people to like do more innovative things, do more experimental and things on the application layer of Bitcoin. I think that's relevant for designers, and it's also relevant for new developers coming into the space and trying to figure out like, hey, how can I become a Lightning developer or a Bitcoin developer without actually having to touch the protocol? So the Design-a-thon, I think, is a big deal. It would give people, kind of like a time to play. Some would even say a playtime. And just like exploring kind of like out of the box ideas or very specific solutions and problem spaces that we kind of like maybe kind of like gloss over when we're focusing too much on wallets and stuff. But I think it as something to open up the event, the tournament, it could be a time to kind of like show off creativity and set the tone for the rest of the month.
Yeah, so those are some of the ideas that are floating around. This document here repeats the same at the top pretty much. Then there's some ideas around what the format could be like. Then there are a bunch of random project ideas of things people may want to explore. It could be, how I want to use Bitcoin in the future in my community, something very personal, local. It could be, figuring out how Taro or RGB or some technology that people are just imagining right now that are in early phases, how those might work out in the future. I don't know, could be all kinds of stuff. Just design stuff for your kids, for different countries, for hardware, point of sale, ATMs, write a comic book, whatever you want it to be. It would be really open. But yeah, I think where should we start with all of this? I think generally, like, how does everyone feel about doing something like that? And what would you like to do? Do you have an idea of what you like? Would you like to participate or organize? Or I'm just kind of curious how people feel about this idea at the moment?
Well, I like the idea. Something we've been talking about for about a year here, and one point, you may have mentioned this already and I missed it, but just one thing to kind of differentiate this from other, air quotes, hackathon ideas is really making this a design focused one. So kind of like for this event, you're not writing any code, you're just doing design stuff like that. If you wanted to code it later, that's fine, but that's not part of the like criteria for the event. The criteria is specifically just about focusing on the design of it.
Yeah, and design in the broadest sense, design is, the classic design is how it works type of idea. The spec for a product or, the architectures, those are all kinds of design related things. It's not just about pixels and typography and all of this stuff. It can be just in the broadest sense, I think, system design and whatnot. Anyone else? Any other thoughts on this?
It sounds like a good initiative. I'd enjoy probably getting involved with either participating or helping organize. Given it would be within the evenings or weekends.
Yeah. So the starting point. Hold on, let me say this. The starting point for the Bolt Fun tournament is a Wednesday. That's the 12th. So we could say Wednesday to Wednesday, or we could say Wednesday and then to the Sunday afterwards. That would include 2 weekends, which would allow for the weekend warriors to have 4 full days basically at their schedule. So even if you can't make work during the week, you could still have that initial weekend to maybe form your team, do explorations, and during the week everybody can do what they want. And then you'd have the second weekend to wrap it up. So that's one option there to accommodate that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I'm pretty new to the community, and so I think being able to jump in and participate would be really a lot of fun. Just to get in there and get my hands dirty with some of the more core design stuff. And I think I feel like other new people to the community would also be happy to jump in. And it feels like kind of safe waters. You can pair up with people who are more experienced and see how things work and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you think, so you would you try to initiate a project or more just look around and kind of try to join something?
I'd probably want to join something, but I mean, if I had an idea, yeah, maybe I could get some people to jump in with me. But
yeah. No, but that's a really good point, and that's one of the reasons why this Google Doc has a idea collection, because if we can collect ideas early, maybe a few people that are still pretty new or so, they can still just say that they're interested in an idea, and then if there are enough people, they can just do it. If not, then maybe somebody more experienced wants to jump in and do a workshop or so. Then we can really help each other out in that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What would you expect to see? Hey Johnny, what would you expect to see with regards to I don't know, like materials for this idea? Like, would it just be like a problem statement? How much context do you think you would need? And I know that like kind of depends, but like maybe we could just talk about expectations for someone like you who's new to the community, and I don't know what level of.
Sure. Yeah. I would just expect, like you said, a problem statement. Like, here's an idea, run with it, kind of thing. So I assume it's there's going to be a shared Figma file with a team or something like that, and everybody just attacks the idea.
Gotcha. Someone was just trying to attack my plate of food just now, but okay. I got it back. I got it back, guys. Crisis averted. Okay, so there is like a design, like there's a few of them actually. Christoph, you've written up some design challenges as well. in the past.
Yeah.
Are those the ones that you've linked up in that document?
No, so the document was really just kind of a random brainstorm. And then a bunch of people commented on it, and I implemented that feedback in here. Really just trying to cast a really broad net. So, like for me, exciting stuff is taking something like Taro or Fedimint or so, where I was just at the conference over the weekend, and people are just talking about it on a super technical level. No one has really ever designed a UI for this ever. It's just like, okay, but then I can't imagine like what this is like, what using this will feel like in the future, and what it allows us to do, and how it'll change our behavior and all of this stuff. Like I'd love to dig into something like that that's very future oriented. But somebody else might say, if I feel like every friend of mine who's a designer who has kids, they start thinking about applications for their children. They could be Bitcoin allowance or something like that. So it could be like a personal thing that they want to solve, or something for their parents, or whatever it is, or in their community based on whatever culture, country that they live in or so. And then the other thing is this DID NFT use case stuff, which, there's a lot of noise around. And the reason why I put it considered from the ground up was there's no point in imitating something that's just somewhere else, like copy pasting stuff. And what is really there, what really should make sense to build on a blockchain, on Bitcoin. Some of it may not be. And just really thinking through that. And I have no idea what the answers are for this stuff. But these are floating topics that are big topics floating around. Somebody could just dive into those and just, I don't know, come up with something. Lightning web apps, that's similar to the Bolt Fund. Lightning is just exploding. There's also WebLN stuff and all of this. I think there's a lot to do still. Finance, right? Bitcoin, blockchain, smart contract, finance, there's stuff. All kinds of things to figure out. This whole custody thing with Fedimint and Galloy, how there was a discussion I had with someone at the conference too, is like if Fedimint is meant to introduce community banking to a lot of countries, and he was talking about countries in Africa or so where people on a personal level just group their money together to organize to make different finances. But does that work to take those people's relationship and just add cryptography and Lightning and all kinds of stuff to there, add this technology? Does that actually make it better, or do they still prefer trust? And can it work? If it works, how can it work? I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of ideas around this community banking floating around, and they might work out very differently based on if you live in a society that's very trust-based or not. And I don't know. Just kind of added, and at the bottom was just a bunch of random stuff like Bitcoin design swag, make a comic book, trailer for the Life of Satoshi, biographical movie. By the way, there's a movie called Bitcoin that I saw a trailer for today that looks pretty goofy. I can share the link. It was on Stacker News. So but those just random ideas, and it really could be anything else. Just whenever somebody wants to work on. Yeah, I don't know. What would you like? What does everybody here like to work on? What would you love to do? If you could just do anything, right? Sorry?
Random idea that I just messaged Daniel on was about the whole channels thing, which we spoke about in the call that we had. And I think that was the big thing with the education flow of Blixt, is explaining the whole channel concept to a complete, let's say a 10-year-old, to get more adoption so that people feel more comfortable with using Lightning. So that's just a random idea. I find that really interesting, just simplifying things. I really am interested in simplifying things, particularly the language and the communication used there.
That could be like a space for a copywriter or something to be able to participate in as a design kind of idea for them to work on. They could create slide decks or prototyping slides or something like this.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like well-polished Figma, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I would still like to make that app for my kids that I've been dreaming of. So maybe that's the opportunity. I should do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking of a similar idea, Daniel. Like a lightning app for kids where, they invoice their parents for the chores that they work on. And, there's different functions in there for, putting it into savings, like on chain or whatever. Could be interesting. You get the young kids used to using these types of systems that when they're, adults, it's like no problem for them.
Yeah, this is a slight tangent, but the people that are under 15 today and probably don't have a bank account yet, maybe they will never need one. Or they maybe, if it's like you say, if they get started early enough, who knows. So building products for those really young people, that could be nice.
And I guess the other part of that is that if you build it simple enough for kids, then it's probably simple enough for adults who have no exposure to this stuff as well.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
That's something I'm really keen on, what Johnny just said.
Okay, so a whole host of things for kids, potentially. Like the next generation.
Taro for kids, basically.
DIDs for kids.
Let's go hardcore straight away. Taro on Fedimint for kids.
Exactly. Yeah, Stephen, what would you? Anything you would love to do? I know you're going to be.
I was just going to say we actually started working on it.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was going to say we actually did a kids kind of family focused Bitcoin wallet once for the Atlanta Bit Devs. We did a hackathon, the MIT hack, and we did one. You have to look at it in mobile or else we'll look screwed up, but I'll send it. You and Christoph, you and Daniel might like it. I made like a dinosaur wallet for the kid, but yeah, anyways, I mean, I'd probably work on I don't know, some kind of Fedimint UI or a comic book or something to do with DIDs. But yeah, like on that point, you said I'll probably be busy. Yeah, so we are kicking off TabConf on the 12th, and that's running through the 15th. So the first day is going to be a Builder Day, and we have the basic gist of Builder Day is that different open source projects get a table. You get to you claim your table for your project. You get to work on whatever you want, and it's kind of like a hackathon without any prize. It's kind of to encourage getting involved in open source. So I was going to run a Bitcoin design table at Builder Day on the 12th. I saw you had your graphic there at the beginning, and I do have an issue open in the meta repository to discuss that. And I think the best two ideas that we have so far are, one, your idea about just having feedback sessions for the other projects in the room. And then the other one would be, why don't we do like some kind of kickoff? We could do like some kind of kickoff event there or something for whatever our design exploration week is. I mean, we could help designers at the event, form teams or, whatever. Not like it has to be like the official like kickoff or anything, but just like we could use the table space as a way to kind of funnel people into joining this design exploration week.
Yeah, and then some of us will be also in Bitcoin Amsterdam. I wonder if we can do the same thing there.
You should do the same thing there, but I imagine that it's going to be a much different kind of event. If it's, I don't know, I imagine it's probably going to be comparable in size to the one they do in Miami. I don't necessarily know if they're going to have like an open like hacker space kind of thing you can do, but there's certainly not going to be any shortage of people there to recruit.
Yeah. Makes me think, I wonder what else we should do during that week to help people. I mean, initially it'd be helpful if we can somehow help facilitate ideas, and then people joining, finding projects that they're interested in, forming groups or so. But then I imagine you kind of want people to be just kind of take off and do their own thing. But we could still organize different types of workshops or just hangout sessions if there's like some Discord thing where 20 people live stream what they're working on or so. I don't know if I think that's possible. Or if you want to have a Figma.
What about in progress? Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. We're having a lag.
Oh yeah, just I could also imagine some workshops if I could do another Figma and Bitcoin UI kit workshop early on if somebody is interested in that. And if somebody wants to organize, like run a design sprint with a team, that could be an interesting thing. But really just depends on what the teams want. Or we just kind of do like 2 hours a day. Everyone can hang out on Jitsi or live stream or so. I think there are all kinds of things we could do. It just kind of depends on who wants to help out and what they want to do.
I'm just curious what kind of format would work best for everyone, like 2 hours a day, or, you know, maybe 2 hours on weekdays and then a bit more on a weekend. I'm just curious what kind of works for everyone else.
Stephen is out, but yeah, Johns and Stephen, you both have experience with these types of things, so maybe you have some thoughts on that.
Yeah,
Johns?
Stephen had to sign up first. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think I missed the last half of the question there. My connection just dropped. What was
It was
the question?
just a question, just throwing out a bunch of ideas about what we could do during that time to kind of connect people and highlight what they're doing and help them out in whatever they may need, whether it's with just random live stream hangout time or dedicated workshops or whatnot. Or this, I think you're about to mention a mid-event check-in, right?
Yeah, I was going to mention like mid-event check-ins. I mean, like, you know, all optional things, of course, but you know, one thing that I remember was really productive and enjoyable about like design school and college was just the like number of mid-project critiques, because those are always good. You know, like it'd be like the sort of thing like, okay, you know, it's a, you know, corporate identity class or whatever, and, you know, okay, first project is coming up with like a, you know, new logo and design system for whatever company. Okay, so obviously there's going to be a class critique at the when everyone's finished the project and is going to turn them in. So that's something you look forward to, you know, getting a chance to show off your work and talk about it with everybody. But then in addition to that, we would do like kind of like check-ins, you know, with the whole class, where it'd be like, okay, you know, this week you're going to show your mood boards of kind of stolen imagery that you ripped off of Google to kind of, you know, get the vibe of, you know, the brand. Then the next week we're going to put everybody's sketches on the board and talk about them, just their pencil sketches of, you know, whatever they're working on. And then they're kind of the next evolution from there, and then the final. So the good thing about that is you know, you're not like, it's not like a hackathon where you're like trying to keep your work kind of secret until the last minute. It's like you're kind of openly sharing your work with people. You're getting feedback, you're getting suggestions, and it kind of keeps it fun too, because you kind of have this like social event to look forward to multiple times throughout. And I think it also kind of is an accountability thing. On the one hand, you're being open and openly giving and receiving feedback from people, but I think that also helps with the competitive edge a little bit, because you do want to kind of like show up to them and like have something cool to show. So I don't know, that could be one way of handling it.
Yeah, I think my one, that sounds generally very good for the people who can really dedicate a lot of time. It might have to be something that's optional for people who are just around during the weekends, or their project just doesn't work with that or whatnot.
Yeah, I really like this idea of like people sharing things, because one of the problems that hackathons tend to have, as Steven said, it's like, it's this coveted thing that no one should know what I'm building, and then boom, it finally gets revealed. With Bold Fun, we're trying to popularize this learning in public and building in public kind of a trend or whatever. And I think it's important because the more people who are doing things in the open, and you see like, oh, this is actually the kinds of mistake that other people do, other mistakes that other designers do, in coming up with a solution and opening up the process, it makes it seem a little bit more accessible, perhaps. And then and same with the building in public, but I guess designing in public is what's equivalent here. We should also maybe try to think about like how we help people discover these streams or whatever that's happening as well. Like if someone registers their Figma file and say, "Hey, I'm working on this," or like how that's gonna look. But generally speaking, I think it should have like a unconference kind of feel where people kind of like are able to just do as they wish or can.
It's an unconference feel.
It's like the FOMO stuff. It's like it's not something that that you kind of like plan, like you have to attend this event, this event, this event. There's a bunch of like satellite stuff that can happen by anyone who say like, hey, I'm randomly gonna do some mentorship, or I'm gonna share my screen for 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days.
Yeah. Mo, you had a comment?
No, just in line with that building in public, I think, leveraging Twitter as well, and maybe getting participants to share their work, just like, hey, I'm in the XY, let's say, playtime design-a-thon, and then we have hashtag playtime Bitcoin, so that, we create a bit of a wave in the Twitter space. I think that would be quite fun, getting people to share their work. I think that's nice.
Christoph, we spoke about this before. Layer tennis, maybe that could be one of the events. If like there could be like the trailer group that you mentioned, some group doing like some UI design, individual doing some drawing sketches or comic book, and then maybe there's like a small like layer tennis style competition.
Yeah, good old layer tennis from 20 years ago or so, whenever that was. Hold on. Somebody else had a question. How to discover all of this stuff? And I do feel like there need to be a couple of people, maybe 2-3 people or so, that just kind of swarm around and keep tap and connect everything. I'd be happy to do that. And I also wonder if we should have a website to accompany this, where it kind of gets regularly updated, where at some point every team has a little box or something where you can click through to their GitHub or their Figma or Google Doc or wherever they may be, right? So to make this stuff a little bit more easy to discover, or their Slack channel, or wherever they want to hang out.
I don't want to shill Bold Fun too much, but by that time we should have like a WIP project where people could post, and we'll have a thing for like a Figma link in there. So I'd like it's also possible to utilize that, but I don't want to make that a hard requirement.
Are you talking about profiles on the Bold.fun makers website?
Oh no, this is projects.
Okay.
So you could post a project and say it's in WIP, and then you can put
I think it could be totally up to people, especially if somebody wants to continue later in the tournament. Then use Bold Fun, and then you're part of the tournament. Your profile's there anyways. So maybe we could still have just one central website for the design event that then links out, and people can put it on Dribble or wherever they want to be. Bold Fun, or I don't know, Microsoft Outlook, whatever.
So we could decide on the website and stuff. One of the things that it's going to take a little time for me to organize, but it's very like in the realm of possibility. So in the tournaments, we have typically one design prize. For all our hackathons, we've always had a design prize, whether how small it is, but still, it's like creating a space for designers. Is this something that we want to have prizes for? I'm in contacts with like a few people already. We do have a prize pool. We'll announce how much that's going to be, but it'll be definitely more than what we've had so far, which is around $3,000 as a prize pool. So yeah, do you think we should corrupt this event with money, or should it just be from the kind of do whatever, come wherever if you can?
What was that weird thing, that word you used, dollars? What is that? What did you mean by that?
Well,
it's only corruption if there's a dollar-based price. If there's a Bitcoin-based price, then it is a very positive thing.
Well, that's very accurate. That's very accurate. We're gonna have it denominated in sats then.
Exactly.
We'll have it in 0.2, no, 0.15, 0.27 Bitcoin.
Well, technically, by the way, it's like dollar is something that changes based on, right? So, hey.
As long as you've converted before, it'll be stable, right?
Exactly.
No, but on the point of prices and money and stuff, I think prices can be fun, but I don't think they have to be big, right? I don't think people will come to this event for the money. But I like the idea of recognizing people who did actually put in effort and did good stuff by, having a jury or having people award the price of winning a certain category or whatever. And, if that comes with a small actual prize, I'm all for it. But, I don't think it's going to make a difference if we have prizes that are in total worth, 0.1 Bitcoin or 1 Bitcoin, or, well, actually maybe 1 Bitcoin would be interesting. No, but, if it's the equivalent of $100 or $500, I don't think it really makes a difference. And I don't think it has to be actual currency. And I think it's almost more fun if it's a thing, whether it's a hardware wallet or some kind of thing we've made especially for the event, whether it's some kind of pins or coins or whatever.
Yeah, some Bitcoin design swag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, things could actually be, thing prizes could actually be way cooler.
Yeah, cool. Any other thoughts on the pros and cons of prices? I think that's kind of because if we want to do that, that's definitely something that requires coordination with the jury and organizing the things.
Well, yeah, I guess that's another question. Is there a jury? Is there a set of judges? We know we're going to do mentorships, but do we actually do judges? Or are we a judgment-free zone?
Randomly give out things?
Roll the dice.
To everybody.
Just roll the dice.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I'm not necessarily in favor of having a jury. That sounds very official. I guess there could be an alternative way of giving out prizes. There could be a way of actually, handing in a project at the end, right? And you could get a prize. Everybody that actually submits a project could get a prize, because again, the prize is more about a symbolic value, right? Or there could be some alternative where we set up a couple of categories in advance, and we could even nominate just one person to be the picker of prizes for that category. I don't know. Or it could be also be a vote, right?
Yeah, could you do like a people's choice kind of thing where everybody that is involved gets a vote on what their favorite one was?
Yeah,
I was just saying, we attempted to do a People Choice Awards last time. Everyone ignored it, and they
Oh
just
no.
like, yeah.
But I like Daniel's idea that he
Yeah.
mentioned that if you submit your project at the end, that you actually then, not get a prize, but something, because that keeps the participants involved for the whole duration of the event as well. Because I think that's also a thing with hackathons. People might join and they might fall out because of work or other reasons. So I think it's nice that if they would submit something at the end, then yeah, then it's rewarded in inverted commas in some way.
We would then have to figure out shipping then if we're doing swag and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was the next item I was actually going to bring up is that, we've got a lot of good interesting ideas here, but ultimately a lot of this, if we're talking about launching something by October 12th, a lot of this is probably going to boil down to like what kind of logistics we can get squared away in the next, 30 or so days here. I think if you want to do swag, that's good. The simplest way to do that is to find some thing that can be produced on demand. So like hypothetically, let's say that's a t-shirt. Well, you use one of these on-demand printing services where, somebody can fill out a form of where they want it shipped to and select their size from a drop down or whatever and the shirt gets, printed automatically and drop shipped to them, as opposed to one member of this group having to stockpile a bunch of stuff at their house and, make trips to the shipping store or whatever. If you want to do like a digital prize, like whether that's just straight Bitcoin or, I'll send you a funny animated GIF or whatever. Yeah, that's easier to do without coordination. But then you get into the level of, okay, well, we need like a sponsor for that all of a sudden. And actually, you honestly might end up needing a sponsor for the swag prizes too. So another way to think about this is just, can we, find a sponsor in the next 30 days and all of that.
With regards to the logistics one, if people come and sort of stream in from Twitter, or we meet them at conferences and we're guiding them to the online location of where the conversation is happening, how do we see the best way of doing that? Would we just be like, let's say I'm at the Amsterdam conference, hey, you need to basically join the Bitcoin design community and join the Playtime channel. How do you guys see that as happening?
Yeah, we would need some type of way to handle that. John's for Bolt Fun, there's a sign-up form, right?
Yeah, so we're building this into the website now. It's essentially, we ask for things like time zone, name is optional, but time zone is kind of important. We have a lightning address there that you could post, pretty much our profile. But then the next thing that we're adding in is like email address. Yeah, we're asking for email addresses as well. So then we could like send like the details of the event and whatnot. I could probably drop that in Playtime, and we could like go through that, like if we decide to make a website, we could go through what we have currently in terms of templates and like tournament sign up flow, and you could see if it we could agree if it works for us or not, or what changes it would need to have.
Yeah. We have about 15 minutes left, so I am perfectly happy to spend a bunch of time designing a website, setting a lot of this stuff up. No problem, happy to do it. Be cool if someone else, I think we need 2 or 3 people essentially that help coordinate stuff, that are in sync, communicate a lot, and also maybe split things up in a few different ways. I'm obviously happy to help do a lot of that stuff if we all think this is an amazing thing to do and it will make Bitcoin design better.
I'll do something.
Awesome. I know you have a lot to do with TabConf anyways, so don't overdo it, but that's awesome.
Worst case scenario, we grab a template from so the like official original Bolt Fun website without the React stuff. It's actually a fork of Bitcoin Design, and we put in. It doesn't match the. Yeah. It's anyway. We put in like a event page with schedule and countdown timer and stuff like that. It's editable in Markdown. So worst case scenario, we could just get something out basic like that and then do a custom header. But yeah, if we are deciding to do a website, it'll have to be ASAP Rocky.
Yep. And so how about we use the last 15 minutes or so, unless there are other important topics, to talk about the naming thing, because clearly we all here have said the word playtime rather than. But Daniel, you raised your hand.
Yeah, just before we move on to that, I just wanted to throw this out there, and it shouldn't feel like there's any pressure, but like if we decided we wanted some form of monetary prizes, or even just some money to pay for other stuff like shipping or whatever, I'm happy to throw in some money personally, like not a lot obviously, but like if it's $100 equivalent worth of Bitcoin, and if that was something that just a few people were up to doing, then we would already have like a little bit of budget to do something. So just throwing that out there. Don't have to decide now.
Awesome. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think the organizing crew can also just start reaching out to a few people. I might have one contact I can get to or ask for that already came up over the last week. And then we'll see what we can make happen within the next 1 to 2 weeks or so. But yeah, Stephen, you were ready here. This is your moment now. Bring your ideas. Convince us.
Oh, yeah. I'm probably the dissenting opinion. I'm probably the only one on the call who doesn't like the name. So sorry. But yeah, I mentioned in the Slack thread, the name makes me kind of uncomfortable. It sounds like it brings two things to mind. It either sounds like it's something for children, or it sounds like adult innuendo. I don't know. Maybe it's just a cultural thing, but the word, I don't love it. I don't want to be someone who criticizes and doesn't, come up with alternative solutions. So I schlepped together some stuff real quick. It's probably bad. I started by just kind of coming up with a whole list of words that might be like kind of related to hackathons, exploration, I don't know, travel, autumn, because it's going to be in October. I don't know. Then I went on a whole outer space thing. It's like, exploring the cosmos. So here's a list of words. I don't know. I got Jam Week, exploration, deep space design, Deep Space Nine spoof. I don't know. Rip the Peak Shift 3D icons. I did that in like the 15 minutes before the call. So that, yeah, like I said, wouldn't be criticizing without solutions, but that's all I got. And that's just my one. I'm just a guy with one opinion. Don't let it weigh too heavily on you.
Oh, good. Yeah. What do others think of the name? Yeah. What are thoughts?
I kind of like the name Playtime, to be honest. I think it's really easy to remember. So I personally like it. It's easy. Even if you look at Stephen came up with playtime.bitcoin.design. That's also sounds really nice. But Odyssey was another one as well. It was also a nice one.
Yeah, I'm neutral on the word playtime. I think I get some of the same associations that was mentioned. Also, it's a bit of a handful to say, Bitcoin design playtime. It kind of gets rather long. So I don't love it, but I also don't rule it out. But another thing with playtime, it feels to me that it would be nice to have a word that sort of signifies a little bit that we also want to get somewhere, right? When you play, something can come out of it, but also like you can just play and then leave it at that. There's no outcome, right? So yeah, just some thoughts. I'm not sure if that's a very long list there that I haven't looked at. I'm not sure if the word bash is on there, but just because Bitcoin design bash is quite fun to say, and it's quite short, but it's also like, what's a bash? I don't know. Is there an outcome to a bash?
Depends on
I'm
how
neutral.
depends on how you could say it. You could actually have Bitcoin design and
A
playtime,
damn
right?
good time. That's the outcome of
Yeah,
the bash.
exactly. That is a very important aspect. But we could maybe come up with a catchy jingle or something as well. Bitcoin design, playtime. I don't know. We could come up with something.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about Odyssey, which is the traditional Odyssey, which is I think this guy here trying to make his way home and encountering all kinds of mythical creatures. Space Odyssey is a little bit more getting lost in space somewhere, but I think the whole to the moon thing is overdone. Not a huge fan of that one. Yeah, but let's. How do we figure this out? Sesh is fun. Jam week's fun. We used Jam for a few things already.
We bike shed until we have to make an announcement. That's how we figure it out. So when do we make the announcement? Let's put a date on it, maybe.
In 9 minutes.
In 9 minutes, yeah. Okay, let's do it then.
Playtime.
Okay, first person with access to the Twitter account who can make the tweet gets to decide the title. Come on, let's go. I'm opening up Twitter, guys. Let's go. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm not one touching Twitter, and two, I'm not gonna bike shed on names.
We can even call it, if we're gonna go for playtime, we can even call it peanut butter Bitcoin design. Peanut butter. It's all quite easy to remember as well. It's also playful.
I don't know what I don't know what it means, but I like it. Sounds nice.
Do you know what peanut butter is? Peanut.
Like the thing you put on a sandwich?
It's the thing you put on a sandwich.
Bitcoin Design Fest.
Perfect. Well, I saw it on Twitter, so that's what it is.
Is it on Twitter now?
Someone
Playtime?
tweeted it, so someone decided. No, I'm just kidding.
Inertia.
You had me going to check Twitter.
So we're gonna try to make the announcement for the Bolt Fund tournament on the 12th. So next week basically. And we're trying to get all the materials out and stuff. There's gonna be like a lot of the events that are happening and stuff. They're kind of like autonomous satellite, but they'll be able to like share the prize with like whoever participating there or host people. It doesn't need to be coordinated at the same time with on the 12th of this month. For the announcement, I guess it would be good to at least be able to like reference the what the first week is going to be, what's going to be happening in the first week. I don't know if we're going to get media or anything like that. I'm historically quite bad at that. But in like writing up the schedule, it would be good to have some kind of name by then.
Wouldn't it? I just had a random idea pop into my mind. Wouldn't it be interesting to have a play on a traditional set of words? So, for example, nuts and bolts has to do with building something. So, for example, you could maybe change that to nuts and jolts, something, I don't know. Or just have a bit of a play on words and then remove the words, maybe Bitcoin design, or maybe we have to have that in the title. But maybe it could be like a play on 3 words that are related to design or 2 words that are related to design. And you change the second word to be something more quirky. I don't know, just thinking out loud.
Mo is thinking very scientifically about this. Like I said, as a researcher would, maybe get a focus group in.
It's great. It's great design thinking or orthogonal. Got to open up new doors.
Via Twitter, yeah, I can do that.
Before you make any decision, you try and open as many doors as possible.
Yeah, there we go. I'm just opening the doors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I personally haven't come up with anything better than playtime, so I'm not. I'm not definitely not vetoing that. I think it's the best I've seen so far.
I like Jam Week, Bitcoin Design Time.
Delight sounds good when put together with design, like Bitcoin Design Delight.
Trailblazers. We're going somewhere. We don't know where we're going yet, though. Now I put a hard break in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to come up with a theme for it. Like, if we have Bitcoin design for everyone, then it could be Bitcoin design. I don't know, breaking barriers or going further, or quest. It's kind of good. You're going out there. You're on a quest, trying to figure something out.
I'm like
Yeah,
smashing away on the
quest is nice.
thesaurus right now. What about like tinker, like tinkering, playing
Tinker
around
time.
with something, or I don't know how to fit that in.
Oh, Tinker Time.
Tinker time. I was just thinking the same.
Tinker Time. Time to tinker with all of your ideas.
Tinker time. Yep. Sketch time. Sketch session. Bitcoin design session. Okay, so maybe maybe by tomorrow we should do a thing where we should vote by committee on this type of thing, or just say screw it, we'll pick one, and even if it's the lamest name in the world, we're just going to make it cool.
I would do a kind of extended bike shedding voting option here. Like somebody like Steve and Christoph maybe pick the top 3 or top 5, whatever, put them in the channel in Slack, and it's not a final decision, but like get some kind of feelings out there for like what people affiliate with, and then at some point someone can make a autocratic decision. I'm not sure.
Okay, can we maybe the group here, can we maybe pick 5 or 10 or so, and then we'll just put them out, and then we'll just say we can start mocking up a website or so, and we'll just say, well, by Monday or Tuesday we're just going to pick one. If one got tons of votes, then cool. Otherwise we'll just try to pick one.
I like Odyssey and Tinker Time. Odyssey was Tinker Time, and Odyssey were nice ones as well. That was one of the original ones.
What else did we have?
Quest was quite nice, but some of these don't work on their own. Like you can't say Quest on its own. You just kind of have to say Bitcoin Design Quest, right? Whereas some of them might work on their own.
True.
Stephen, we know which one you won't be voting for.
Anyone else? Any other ones to add here? We're creating our short list.
Tiny nit, but I would probably write Tinker Time as one word without the space, like playtime. So it looks nice.
Stephen, what do you think? Are you mocking? Should I just grab them from you?
No, it can't be that color. Oh, if you want to.
Okay, Johns, what do you think?
I'm just,
I think we could call it playtime or week.
Week?
Yeah, we call it week.
Design week, Jam week.
Bitcoin Design
Week.
That's the one that doesn't really work by itself.
Well, that's weak, man.
Yeah, totally rad. Not rad, dude.
What about Jamble Week? That word doesn't even exist. I know, I'm really just randomly. Jamble Week.
Jamboree.
Jamboree Week.
Jamboree.
Jamboree,
Jamble.
that's the word.
It sounds so happy. It's like we're gonna have a party online, you know?
It's
We're
not a
we're,
party, it's a jamble.
we're making up words now. Now this is the point of where we've got to.
Being creative.
Jamboree. Jamble.
Okay.
At some
Oh,
point,
is it-
I assume you all wrote off Design-a-thon, right?
Well, Christoph
I mean,
wrote
I'm
it off
good with
already.
it. I'm good with it.
Bitcoin Design-a-thon? Bitcoin Design-a-thon?
Yeah, Bitcoin Design-a-thon. No.
Yeah, just Bitcoin Design-a-thon. I love it. It tells you what it is.
Bitcoin Design Week.
I like that
exciting.
too.
Super exciting.
This is high stakes, high intensity, important work here, guys.
See?
This is what we live for.
Here, hold on. Here we go. Hold on. Then
Bitcoin design
we can
shizzle.
do a whole thing. There we go.
Is
Dig
that
it.
is that tape being rolled
I mean,
out, or
obviously,
is it...
that is a Cinema 4D curling modifier with the Redshift renderer, if I had to guess. But yeah, it might be tape.
I think the kids these days would call this graphic satisfying, and that's all it is meant to achieve, to appeal, to be satisfying visually.
Oh, those kids. All right, cool.
Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 7. We have 7 here. What else? Remove him. Good, bad. But that's not this. I mean, it is design, but it's not functional design. It's emotional appeal or something. I don't know what they call that.
Well, yeah, it can feel silly, but on the other hand, this would be the first thing people heard or saw when we're communicating about it. So, yeah, I think plenty of several of them work, but yeah, they all feel slightly different. And
Yeah. I mean, it's nice when you can also derive a theme from it. Odysseys, an adventure journey, mythical creatures, whatever it is. Jam Week, you can think about jazz, people getting together. Everybody brings their instrument, and you just make something up as you go. Quest, all of these have different connotations. Some of them are incredibly creepy, like playtime. Okay. So how about we just put them out for vote?
Oh, yo. Sorry, I was just looking at that GIF somebody posted in the chat. It looks awesome, the thing. It's like...
Satisfying, huh, bro?
is that how an actual bike shed looks like?
Exactly. We are at the pinnacle of bike shedding right now. Oh, capital B or lowercase b?
Okay, I think these are some good options. I think, and
Okay.
we should decide before the end of the week, probably.
Okay, cool. We'll try to just post something tomorrow, some way that people can vote on it via emoji or something like that, and then we'll just take it from there. Okay, who wants to make a statement right now? It doesn't have to be right now. It could be tomorrow or some other time about their involvement in what they want to do with this type of thing. Participant, fine. Not participant, you hate it, also fine. If you want to run the whole thing by yourself, also fine.
Happy to do both. Definitely want to participate. I think that will be super fun.
Yeah, me too.
Same here. definitely participate.
Yeah, I think my involvement would,
I'll help with the organizing.
I can commit to try and submit something, as in, participate and create something. But I think what would maybe suit me is if I could maybe run a session of something, like, at a specific time, I could talk about a topic, whether it's the intersection of designing and building, or something to be decided. But I think I could sign up for actually being down for a slot where people could come and learn or talk, or have something. I'm not sure if I could sign up for like being online 2 hours or like 4 hours every day for just random kind of designing together. Not sure.
Yeah, I think we for something like that we should split it up between people. CMO, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, I'm up for organizing. I'm not sure